So hello, everybody. This is the virtual chapter of IACT IMDHA. This is Michael Watson, and I'm here with my friend and lovely associate,
Karen Hand. Hi there. Good to see you tonight.
Good to see you, Karen, coming to us from Chicago, from tip top of the Windy City.
That's right.
We are here for our monthly meeting. This is the April meeting of the virtual chapter for 2018. We have a special guest tonight, Alberto DellIsola, who we'll be talking with in just a little while. And I just need to start out with a few announcements. That is to let you know that because you are spending an hour and a half with us here this evening, you are entitled to redeem that hour and a half by going out to the IACT or IMDHA website, whichever of those two organizations you may be a member of, and signing in with your member ID and asking for CEUs for attending the virtual chapter. So do log in and let them know that you want credit for the hour spent and hour and a half spent, and they will give that to you. Also, this program is being recorded, so mind your manners, watch your mouth, look out for what you say. And the recording will be posted tomorrow on the IACT IMDHA forum. That is the Mind Matters forum. So if you're a member, again, of one of those organizations, you can log into the forum. It will also be posted on Facebook in the virtual chapter Facebook group. So if you don't already belong to that virtual chapter, it's a group on Facebook. That's where we announce all of the meetings and who our speaker is going to be and stuff like that, and where we post all of the replays, and probably where most of the people that see this program get to see it. So so join the virtual chapter. We'll be happy to have you. And with that said, we got a couple things coming up in the news. Karen, you want to talk about New York for a minute?
Yes, going to New York. Alberto would join us. Michael and I are going, and I'll bet a bunch of other people on this call are going to HypnoBiz New York. It will be May 4th and 5th, and it's all about hypnosis business. It's the first of this particular conference, and Selena Valentine put it all together, and it is sold out. How is that? For a first-time conference, it's sold out. Although, I want to say Michael is doing a one-day post-conference event, and you can still go to Michael's one-day post-conference even if you're locked out or sold out of HypnoBiz. And after all, you're in the Big Apple, New York City. We're going to do some Broadway. We're going to have some good times and get to network and hang out with some really cool people and learn about beefing up our hypnosis business. We'd love to see you there. Let us know if you're there. Be sure to come up and introduce yourself.
It is going to be fantastic. And then, by the way, just a couple of weeks after that, what's the...
Before we move on too quickly, what is your program afterwards? Your one day afterwards. I'm sorry.
How lovely of you helping me along here to do my advertising and shameless promotion. It's a day of evolutionary hypnosis. So the paradigm that I've been working with for a while, and I think I've talked about it on this group many times, but essentially some new methods for inductions and working with clients, and a different approach to the therapeutic relationship between hypnotist and operator that I think people will enjoy and can add to the work that they're already doing. Rather than something else, I think it's something that really can enhance the work that folks are doing. And well, obviously I advocate it entirely. So yeah, please come out and spend a day with me, and we'll have a great time together. That's, by the way, on the Monday after the weekend. So or Sunday rather, of the weekend. Help me, I don't have my notes. The 6th of May is the date of that. So yeah, you can go to the hypnobizny.com website, and although you can't register for the conference, you still can sign up for the post-conference program. And I understand that they're keeping a waiting list too. So if some people drop out or something, you might still be able to get into the conference itself.
Great.
So yeah, that's great news, and I think really a special thing in the hypno business, because it is hypnosis business as a specialty for a whole conference. So so good on the folks that are putting that together. We're really happy and excited about it. The other thing is, of course, just beyond that. So then we get to come home. We get to breathe for a week and a half or so, and then well, I just have to swim a few laps to get over there, but most people have to fly, and that is that in Daytona Beach is the annual IACT IMDHA Hypno Expo 2018, May 18th, 19th, and 20th, and that too has pre and post conference programs. Some of you may be aware, Karen and I have been interviewing the presenters of those pre and post programs for several weeks now. We have only one more of those interviews left. That will be tomorrow night at this same time. Yes.
Yeah.
At the same time, on the same bat channel. As a matter of fact, if you use the same login tomorrow night, we'll be talking with Anthony DeMarco about epigenetics and hypnosis. And that will be half of the show. We've been doing 2 guests each time. The other half will be just a recap of all of the presentations that we've had and some exciting celebration as we get ready to go off to the Hypno Expo. So looking forward to that.
I want to do a shameless plug myself for my one day at Daytona Beach, which is Stop, Look, and Listen, Maximize Session Success. That'll be on Friday. So if you don't have anything else planned for Friday, join me for that full day workshop.
Okay. All right. And so our last piece before we get onto our guests, because we're going to keep this fellow with us for the whole rest of the time. So we want to get everything out of the way here that we've got. But we did want to tell you, and I think this is kind of chapter news, is that IACT has been talking for quite a while about how to develop online education and different opportunities for that. I know Robert and Linda have been really pressing for ways to do it. And what we've managed to come up with is, I'm a guy who had a whole lot of objections to it in the beginning. And the result of those objections has been for me to figure out how to handle them, how to meet them, so that we can in fact do work online and we can do it responsibly and stuff. So as you know, I've been doing the virtual hypnotist class for several months now. That's been really going great guns with a lot of support. But finally, we have put together as our experiment the first online hypnosis certification training that we have done. And Karen and I are doing this together. And the way that it started out is we have 2 live modules, so it's not all online. Karen had a group in Chicago a couple of weeks ago. I had a group here in Florida at the same time. And then we began a series of online sessions that goes on for 18 online sessions with supervised homework and all kinds of contact. And even in those online sessions, we use breakout rooms so people can do exercises and processes with each other, and they can it's all 100% live and interactive. And then there's going to be another live weekend, like I said, at the end of it all. And so far, we're just a little ways into the live session, or to the online sessions rather, and it's going really, really well. So
I just want to say that I got a call yesterday. We did our second session, Zoom session or online session, Sunday evening, and I caught a call yesterday from one of my Chicago students who said he'd told some of his friends who are hypnotists about this online training, and they said, oh, you can't do it online. You can't train. You can't do hypnosis online. It can't be done. And he said, well, I don't know. I'll let you know. And he called me yesterday and said how phenomenal it was as we went into breakout rooms and 2 people in each room hypnotized each other. And his feedback was that it was so incredible that it was even better, in his estimation, than being in the same room with someone, because you can get right up in their face or on their face and see them very close up. And he thought that it was even a better experience than he had being hypnotized in person. So it's quite interesting, and we're just thrilled with it. It's going very well.
I think a whole lot of us learned how to go into a trance with Sesame Street and various other screens in the first place. So we know it works well for hypnosis, and we've been doing that with clients now for quite some while. But the idea of training is something that's really intriguing to me, because I really do have this felt sense about the need for connections. I love that I have a legacy and that I have breathed the same air with some of the best and greatest people. Here's Larry Elman on our screen here, bringing a great legacy with him. We really want to keep that alive and make those opportunities available to people. And at the same way, we want to be aware that the future is insisting that we make some changes in how we do our work, and what we need to do is to find the most responsible way to accommodate those changes as time goes on. So we're just really thrilled and excited about it anyway. How cool is it? We've got a new mission in our golden years. So well, that's great. And speaking of a new mission, I think without further ado, I am ready to start talking to our buddy here, because Alberto, one of the things about this fella is And this is the thing that just amazed me. He has a YouTube channel with over 300. Somebody said over 300,000 subscribers, and I'm like, well, that's a lot of bullshit. And then I looked. Then I looked on YouTube, and I'm like, oh my God, 315 today, I think, is what I saw. So I was just amazed with that. He's a delightful speaker and a presenter. He's a hypnosis educator. He's the author of several books and translator of several more. He's the fellow who put together the Brazilian hypnosis convention that folks who attend this thing have heard us talking about in the past. Cheryl was there. I was there. And we've had Anthony Jacquin, who I met there, was our guest just last month. So what a real contribution, he has made to us. So without further ado, by the way, I'm going to have to remember to turn his microphone on as soon as I can find it. Oh, I turned on. There you go. Hello, Alberto.
Hello, hi to you both. To everyone, by the way, Cheryl, Larry, and everyone that's watching us. And I'm very glad to be part of this, to talk about hypnosis. There are the two things that I like talking the most are content marketing and hypnosis. So I think I will have a great time with you this night.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
In
fact, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, Karen. We really are glad you're with us, and we want to hear all about the content marketing, especially. That's a really important issue for us. But just for the benefit of, first of all, there are probably a number of people here who don't know you. A lot of people on the call, which is really quite nice. They've started filling up the room now, and by the way, you have a huge audience of your own, of course. Most of whom speak Portuguese. So, yes. So I wish we could have a little talking head down in the corner somewhere, or some way to sort that out. But I guess what I'd like to find out before we get really far into it, just a little bit about you in terms of how did you sort of get into the hypnosis world in the first place? What brings you into this field?
Well, as I was studying psychology in around 2005-06, and as every psychologist that comes to hypnosis, I started with Ericksonian hypnosis and phenomenology, Carl Rogers and Fritz Perls. I always loved the humanistic approach, which has never gone out from my practice because I really like the Husserl idea of how we can't talk about the other because we are not the other person. And the point is, I started studying NLP because I started learning the structure of magic and couple therapy. So I started getting this world. But when I was starting to study cognitive therapy, CBT, and I saw that the classical and traditional hypnosis attached very nice to the CBT, which I really love too. So that's the way I started. And I never thought on teaching hypnosis, which is a very funny thing because nobody as a kid thinks, oh, I want to be a hypnotist and a teacher. Yeah, I wanted to be Batman, really. And I didn't have the idea of becoming a teacher of hypnosis. My idea was to be a professor. So I got a master's degree in philosophy of law and psychology law, this kind of thing. And I was teaching I wasn't really the teacher. I don't know. I wasn't really the professor in the college. I was kind of the teacher that comes sometimes and teach. Like, I don't know the word in English. And I was teaching them about therapy and notions of therapy to law students. But I was a therapist already. but I never thought on teaching therapy or teaching kind of or hypnosis. But in the end of the class, the students started asking for hypnosis because they heard I could do hypnosis. So they asked to see their idol in a hallucination or lose their names. And then when they got anxious to tests, they started coming to do this kind of thing. And many of them got very good results with these short sessions after the classes. And they started asking for a course on hypnosis. So I started getting all the tools I had on NLP, psychology, and traditional hypnosis, Ericksonian hypnosis, and I started teaching the way I teach and the way I practice hypnosis. And so I started, and the thing is, I wasn't famous in Brazil because of hypnosis, although I was already known for being a memory champion, because I used to be on television memorizing decks of cards and doing Rubik Cube, this kind of nerdy thing. And the point is, I started putting videos on YouTube because there are some inductions, like for example, shocking inductions, that the students were very aggressive doing them, like the hand drop, they were like fighting with each other, or the arm pull. And I started doing some videos to show that you can do this kind of thing in a nice way, and you don't need to be very aggressive and don't need to fight with people during hypnosis. And I was putting that videos. I didn't know content marketing. I was just liking, I just wanted that videos to connect with my former students that I was teaching live, so they could see the videos and review what I was teaching. But I started to see that many people from Brazil started watching my videos. So I kept putting the videos. It was in 2014. I had only, at the beginning, 3,000 subscribers or something like that. But there are some tips on YouTube that I can give during the conversation. And then they started to grow very fast. And what's really funny that I have this big audience that only speak Portuguese. If you think on the percentage of people online, it's not as much as English, for example. I don't have a 300,000 subscribers YouTube channel which on English. So that makes it much bigger, because that's just the Portuguese speakers.
Yeah.
Which would be around 300 million people in the world. So that's not so many people. And then I started doing that, and Brazil was very close to the best guys in hypnosis. The only guy that really came here well is Milton Erickson, because his books were translated into Portuguese. The NLP books and Milton Erickson books, because the Milton Erickson Foundation came to Brazil in the 80s, and Jeffrey Zeig had a very big connection to Brazil. So he made many centers in Brazil. But if we think on other routes of hypnosis and other ways of doing hypnosis, nobody knew Dave Hellman, for example. Nobody knew Weizenhofer or Spiegel or Hilgard or any Melissa Tears, and most of the guys, even you, we didn't have access. I had access because of, as I speak English, although I have a very strong accent, and I hope you are understanding everything I say, at least 80% of what I say. And so that's the point. I started doing the content marketing, but without the intention of doing marketing. And then I started to see that some actions that I was doing was giving very good results, and some were bad. So I made a lot of wrong moves. Wrong moves. I did a lot of wrong things that I will tell the wrong things that I did, so you don't need to do this mistake too. So that's the beginning. Then I started promoting my courses, and I was teaching around 1,400 people every year in live person training. And then This year, I'm not teaching live anymore because I already have all the funnels to do the online teaching. And I'm starting the online teaching because it's a much better way of doing business in the internet. And you have online business, you know that.
Sure. And you know what? The nice thing about it is you don't need no passports. You don't need no visas.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point. Michael Watson almost lost Brazil because of that. And I was afraid because the problem of the visa is that they say that around 15 days you get this visa. But for example, if we have a problem with the post office and they lose your passport or something like that, because I get to take it in some place. So I have to take it in my home from the post office. So I was afraid things may happen. So I didn't want those things to happen, but everything was good. And online business has a lot of qualities, but some people do something wrong with the online business because they're more worried about their online business than connecting with people. So I guess that's the main topic that we should talk today. Well, I talk a lot, so I hope you talk too.
Well, no, that's great. And in fact, and I want to make sure Karen gets in here too. I don't want to I don't want to leave her out. But I want to start out with this business about just networking itself. The whole general frame of networking, certainly something that's changing in the ways that we do it. You know, people used to belong to little local meetup groups, you know, where you get to do your 3-minute talk and say who you are,
yes,
and, you know, and what you do. I actually can remember when I started my practice. Actually, I can remember when I started teaching classes in San Francisco. I can literally remember walking down the street, down Haight Street, you know, good hippie avenue, and taping posters to light posts, you know, because oh my God, there was. Well, it barely.
Yeah. Yeah, but at that time, because people didn't have a cell phone, a mobile in their hands.
They didn't even have computers.
So a flyer was a good marketing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In 2005, when I had my first center, I did full-page ads in the Sunday newspaper because internet marketing was not what it is today. In Chicago, a full-page ad in the newspaper is about $4,000, a $4,000 proposition. That becomes very expensive advertising. So this internet marketing is really the way to go, and it's a lot cheaper than that.
Yes. And there are some difference too, but before I talk about the difference between, and I will probably make some mistakes in English because I don't have really the right technical words for everything I'm talking about, because I didn't practice them in English, just in Portuguese, so I'm translating them on the fly. But the thing is, there is a very strong difference, and many hypnotists today don't know that, between a direct advertisement for an offer and a sales machine.
So what's the difference? Explain
that. Yeah, that's the second most important thing. The first is networking, but I will talk about the sales machine now, because we are talking about that. How people do advertisement on Facebook or AdWords. They get their offer. Oh, I have a therapy room, an office, a therapy office, or I have, oh, do you want to quit smoking? Come and see me. Here is my offer. And people click there. Oh, I am teaching Ericksonian hypnosis on Sunday. So people choose the right people and put their offer. And that's bad marketing. Why it's bad marketing? This marketing is what I called pulverized marketing. Although we select people which is receiving this marketing, I don't have a connection with these people. So if someone sees an offer, a direct offer, for example, like a book on the internet, that works because I don't need a connection with the library to buy a book, because I'm searching for the book that I want. But that doesn't work when you're talking about psychology, medicine, dentist. Because imagine you have a very bad teeth, okay? You have a very, very bad tooth, you need to extract that, and you are inside your house and you get a very, very nice flyer talking about a very new clinical that clinic that can fix that. Are you following? Am I speaking right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
You get a very big flyer, a nice flyer, and you read the flyer. This is the best dentist ever. He has a PhD in Harvard. He's awesome. You would rather ask your friend, where did he go to the dentist?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the first error. People think that if they see your ad in the internet, that people will click and buy. They will not do that.
Yeah.
They would, people, that kind of thing of course works, but that's very expensive because the conversion rate is very, very low. So when we are, for example, I create an offer, oh, come here, have a class with Alberto tomorrow. Just people that are already connected with me that will buy that.
Sure.
So we have a big problem because it seems like just famous people, just known people on the internet that can sell online, which is a mistake. That's not true. Because if you get, for example, at least in Brazil, people that are making more money with digital marketing and digital products, they are not very famous, but they have a very big audience.
Yes.
A very big private audience. But how do you do that? That's what we call, at least in Brazil, sales machine. It's an internet, a digital marketing concept in Portuguese, and I translated in English.
Yes. Yeah.
And the concept is, instead of putting an offer, come here, for example, someone writes on Google, how to quit smoking, okay? You have two options, two kind of offers. The first one, did you know that hypnosis is awesome to quit smoking? Click here and schedule your session. That's the first offer. That's the kind of offer people usually do. And that's the bad one. But there's a second one. Did you know that hypnosis can really help you to quit smoking? Click here and get an awesome ebook where you can learn for free the good things hypnosis can do for your life, or some scientific papers on how hypnosis is good for quit smoking. And people call that the bait, the digital bait, which I must say that although the name is digital bait, that must be a very good thing. Because if this bait, an ebook, a free course, something that you are given for free, which has a very big value, people read that, love that, and they started loving you.
Yeah.
And you start a relationship.
Yes.
So you start the same relationship that Michael Watson used to do in the past in the small clubs and the small people that were usually together.
Yeah.
But nowadays that happens online. So, for example, I did a very big mistake that I hope you guys that are watching me don't do this mistake. In 2015 and 2016, those both years, I taught about 2,400 people, right? Great, it was awesome. But when I started, when people asked me, how many emails do you have? how those more than 2,000 people are connected to you. Oh, I don't have it. And if people have it, they don't keep the relationship with these people. Yeah. You must keep. That's just like dating someone.
Yeah.
You just don't come to the boy or to the girl and say, "Oh, let's go to the movies," randomly on the streets. You don't go to someone you like on the street and say, "Oh, you're gorgeous. Let's go to the movies. No, people don't act like that."
Yes.
You start a conversation, you start connecting. So that's the point of the sales machine. We start making offers, and those offers start to create a relationship with your customer. Because if you just do the pulverized marketing, like the flyers, you are just going to, does it work? Yes, but it costs a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It works, but that's bad marketing. So that's the first thing. You must be more worried about connecting to your audience. For example, what we are having now is great for content marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because people are getting content for free. Michael Watson, and you know that. Mm-hmm. So when you give something, and now that comes another point that's very important, that I talked to, when I started putting videos on YouTube, I started with the videos on YouTube. The hypnotists in Brazil, the famous one, the guys from the old age, they got mad at me because they said I was teaching the secrets and that nobody would learn hypnosis anymore, and that the business would fail and everything. Yeah. But what happens that the market is just getting bigger because people didn't know hypnosis. So how come someone that has never seen that, has never practiced a hand clasp, for example, or something like that, how can that person be a customer? So the point is, if you don't connect to people, if you don't deliver content, that will not work. Michael Watson, you must be watching that, Michael Watson. So so we come to another digital marketing concept, which are in Portuguese we call funnels. Some people call pipelines. I don't know the name you speak there.
Funnels. I think funnels would work here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Which is you create a journey of your emails to connect to people. So there is a special first email of greeting, that person that got a book, and then you give more content in the first email, and then another awesome content, and people start to get in love with what you do best. And then if that person doesn't get your product, that person will tell someone that needs your help that you are the guy. And every time the content you deliver change people's life, they get transformed, you start to connect with people. So we must have, every time you create a content online, you must have the abundance mindset, not scarcity. Because some hypnotists that I know, when they started creating this kind of thing, I can't teach that. Because if I say this, people are not coming. And that's not true. People will come anyway. And people buy things, they get your services because they like you and they trust you. So you feel bound to people, if you connect to people with great content, with trust. For example, I told a friend that I was going to release a self-hypnosis course. I told one of the students from my other course, because you must have many funnels, which are many different courses. You must have a cheaper one that people get acquainted, and then more expensive. And a student of mine said, oh, I wasn't thinking on buying a self-hypnosis course, but I'm sure I will buy yours because it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's the point. That's trust.
Yeah.
People start to buy things. There are many students, for example, from Michael Watson, that anything that he releases, many people will buy immediately because of the connection. And so I see many people that are much more worried with the creation of the online courses, the creation of the product, instead of being worried about the connection with people.
Yeah. Can I just say something here?
Please, I talk a lot and I need to drink
it's
water.
lovely. It's lovely. I appreciate what you're saying for a variety of reasons. And one of them is it really validates something in my own experience. I love the way that you talk about this. You know that I'm an Ericksonian guy, right? And I just have this sense that hypnosis is a relationship in the first place. Everything is a relationship in the first place. And I always felt as a hypnotist when I was first starting out and stuff that it didn't occur to me until after I was ready to begin practicing that I not only needed to be a hypnotist, but I needed to be a marketer, that I needed to be a web designer, that I needed to be a copy editor, that I needed to be all of those other things that I simply am not. But the one thing, rather than having business training, so I suck as a businessman, but the one thing that I got in my education is that I was trained for ministry. And what I was trained to do was to create communities. So what's happened for me in the last few years especially is that groups of stuff that I'm associated with really have that sense of community. And it's a little, I hope it doesn't like creep anybody out to hear me say this, but the truth of the matter is when people are getting involved with me in some way, I tend to be relating to them as somebody who's a member of the congregation. This isn't somebody who showed up for one meeting and they're going to go away. They're a part of this collective of people that I am privileged to be able to work with. And so that changes my relationship with them all.
Yes, that's a point, because that's the same idea. Not that bad religion thing that people think of sin and going to hell because hell is bad, but the thing of the community, the getting connect to people. So if you want to start your business, and I'm not talking of just online, because nowadays if you have an in-person training, like a workshop, a post-conventional workshop, people will find your workshop online. Mm-hmm. So people that have a connection with you, oh, Michael Watson is in my city, I must go there. So people must be worried about that. But that is a lot of work, because that's not easy. For example, YouTube demands a lot of time, lots of time. Right. And the social media, by the way, blogging, I started my blog because I needed a blog. I will talk about blog if you want to also. And the point is, every social media has a different importance in digital marketing. Right. People ask me, oh, should I be on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube? Well, that's hard to choose because their objective is completely different. Yes. So that's it.
By the way, just to make sure that you're aware of this, most of the people that are on this call, or at least most of the IACT and IMDHA folks that are on this call, are practitioners whose primary interest isn't in necessarily building and selling courses. There are certainly a few of us. I mean, I am, and Karen is, and the Elmans are, and like that. But also, I think people are thinking about this in terms of how do I get more individuals to come into my door, more clients to work with, and that sort of stuff.
Well, doing some of this stuff that you've already talked about, Alberto, will bring clients as well. A free ebook on what self-hypnosis can do for you starts that relationship with a prospective client too, does it not?
Yes, that's the idea, because our students are much more worried on creating the course and how can I sell it That's the point. People say, oh, I have an office. I have the full office. But to be honest, before you have your office, you must create people that want you to work with them. Mm-hmm. So the point is, people start an office and they will have a very big structure to pay. I don't know, the rent or buying an office and fixing an office, because usually when you come to an office, you make a lot of repairments and kind of thing. And the first point is you must be known. But how can I be known? The first thing is the sales machine, I told, like the ebook or something. Yeah. Another thing that's very important is blogging. And blogging, people don't understand blogs nowadays, and I must talk about blogs.
Please.
And before YouTube, there was what we called, at least in Brazil, the blogosphere, which was a very big community of people that were very important intellectually, because they were, everything they post people were consuming that, they were reading that, and they were very critical people and very important people to the audience, the blogosphere. And when the blogosphere ended, started the podcasts, YouTube, and other kind of media, because technology, the internet quality improved a lot. So, and people would rather listen to something on podcast and watching a video on YouTube. So people quit blogging. But there's something very important on blogging. The first thing that's very important on blog is some people still like to read. So you should write for these people. But the second thing why blogging, and when I talk about blogging, is writing lots of articles. They are important for something we call SEO, the relevance, the search engine optimization for your website. For example, Adam Eason has a very big and nice blog. If you look for something on Google concerning scientific hypnosis, science and hypnosis, at the moment, you will find Adam Eason's blog. The point is, he has so many articles on science and self-hypnosis and hypnosis that Google put that website as relevant. So some people, you start to create what we call the organic traffic for your website. So the marketing starts, the ads start to get much cheaper, because you already have organic people. And people that come, and that's something very important. Everyone that comes to your fan page on Facebook, everyone that comes to your blog, everyone that watches a video on YouTube, you can't miss that person. For example, I know many hypnotists in the US that has some YouTube videos that has 5 million people that watched that video. Oh, this therapy video has 5 million views. And they, oh, that's great, awesome. How many emails you have from that views? None. So that's not important. That's irrelevant, by the way. Because you must create an individual connection with people that are consuming your content. And the only connection that you can trust is the email. You may say, oh, people don't look for emails nowadays as they used in the past. That's not true. What happens is that, okay, many people don't check emails as they used in the past. They like using the social media. But the people that buy things, they usually check emails. The kids don't check emails. The teenagers don't check emails, but businessmen check emails. And the second thing is that, and that's a very important tip for this night, one of the most important, is the email is the only contact you really have from your client. For example, I have my YouTube channel with more than 300,000 subscribers. Great, awesome. And if YouTube starts charging for the YouTube, and if YouTube says, oh, we can deliver your content, like Facebook is doing. Facebook nowadays, without paying, is worthless. That doesn't work anymore. You may have 1 million likes on your fan page. If you don't pay with your credit card, nobody's going to see what you're putting there, because the organic traffic of Facebook is very little at the moment, very small. Zuckerberg wanted to make a lot of profit on that. And YouTube started also not delivering content to everyone. So we can't trust social media. Although they're important, although I'm connected the most I can with every social media we have, not everyone, because that's infinite, but at least the Instagram, the YouTube, and Facebook, I must make what we call the call for action. People are watching your video. People are reading your article. What next? That person must have a direct suggestion to do some action. They must, oh, did you like this article? Click here, put your email, and you learn much more from me. There's some content that you can't find on the internet. For example, I'm nowadays recording a rapid inductions course that will be not on YouTube, will be not on social media, and will not be sold. It's not going to be sold. I'm going to give for free, just for people that are connected with me with the mail.
Yes, nice.
If we don't do the call for action, we may have, for example, a viral. Your YouTube video may have lots of views, but that doesn't change into business. So the call for action is very important, and the email contact is very, very important, because that's the only contact that you can really trust.
So let me ask something about YouTube. On that vein, Alberto, on YouTube, of course, you can subscribe, and people get all sorts of subscribers. What I think I just heard you say is that's unimportant, unless you get your email at the same time.
That's the point. The thing is, having subscribers in YouTube is very important for some reasons. For example, as my YouTube channel is big, for example, I put a video with James Strip. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the first one on YouTube, because they get the biggest channel with most subscribers to give relevance to the videos. Mm-hmm. So for the platform and the organic thing, the subscribers are important. But the point is, if you don't start collecting the emails, you start losing track of the subscribers, because not everyone is going to receive the notification of the new video. That's something that many YouTubers, how they call the guys, I discovered last year that I am a YouTuber now, as I have 300,000 subscribers. I am a YouTuber. And YouTubers, the point is, there are some YouTubers that have 1 million subscribers, but they have a problem with making business, because they didn't collect emails at all. Right. So for the platform, it's very important to get subscribers. It's very important to ask for a like at the beginning of the video. It's very important to ask them to subscribe. it's very important, and something that's very annoying on YouTube is that frequency is the most important thing. The frequency of the videos, weekly, 2 days a week, 3 times a week, that's much more important than the quality of the video. People want content. So, and what's the problem? Thinking on behaviorism and Skinner, human like to be rewarded. We like a reward for things that we do. So you start a YouTube channel. Oh, I'm following all the tips that I saw in the meeting. I will know I'm very excited about that. I made a month, 3 videos every week. And we're going to have no result because the result is very slow, very slow. And I thought on giving up loads of times because that's very hard to keep. And it must be the right days. For example, my audience usually get videos on Monday and Wednesday. If I don't put a video on the Wednesday night, they start complaining. And some people of your audience start to wait for the video. So they start to create more engagement, a more engaging audience. So that's very hard to do that because you will work on YouTube for a year and you feel like you are doing a very bad job because nobody's coming. But the point is, if you do the YouTube with the sales machine, you can put people that are on your list to start watching your videos. And if now, that's another very good tip. If you just send an email and video on YouTube, you just publish that, and your audience receives immediately an email telling, oh, my new video is awesome, and I give some advice on how to deal with a headache or something like that, your audience is going to click on the video. And the first 24 hours for the video are the most important hours for relevance for YouTube. So if you can, for using your other social media, connect that video is going to be more important for the platform. And all the platforms must work together. So that's the point, but that's a lot of time.
How do you find the time? That's exactly what I was going to say. How in the world can you keep up with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and teach 2,000 people a year? Are you Superman?
No. Something that happens that, for example, I have a schedule on a studio, but that doesn't need it to be in a studio. But something that I learned, and James Tripp said that sentence to me, that's from Tim Ferriss: every time I can spend money to make time, I will do that. And that's the first thing, the first mistake that I used to do in the past. Because it was, in the beginning, it was like that. Imagine that I need a bicycle to go to work, okay? Imagine I need a bicycle, but I don't have a bicycle. So I started creating my own bicycle. So I started buying a tire, and I started to buy every piece of the bicycle. But that's not my job to create the bicycle, you know? But when we start doing our practice, we start to learn, oh, let's learn Photoshop, I must learn web design. No, and oh, let's save some money. That's the bad idea that I had. Because I thought, oh, if I do everything, I'm going to spend much less than if I pay someone else. But the thing is, if I started picking the worst things that I didn't want to learn. So when this began, the point is when it started growing, I started hiring people to help me. But of course, this hiring thing started as the business started to give money. So some tips on YouTube, for example, the videos, they don't need to be long. For example, in the morning, I usually can record 6 videos. They are short videos. They are around 5 minutes, 6 minutes. So I just get the titles of the videos and I start doing them. So if you say, for example, a morning, every week, you can manage the Instagram and the YouTube. Because you create some short videos for Instagram and short like a minute or 30 seconds talking about something important on Instagram stories or something like that. And the videos on Instagram, on YouTube. But something that's very important talking about that is that although we start working at home, if we don't have the discipline as we are working in a company, like a regular job, that doesn't work. So although I like to wake up in the morning and go to the gym and walk and do the things I like to do, I have some very important times. Oh, every Thursday and Friday morning, I go to the studio to record. Why nowadays I'm going to the studio? And I just started going to the studio in the end of last year. So when it started in 2014, the videos are very bad. And the very big problem is that the videos that have more views are the worst ones, as they are the older ones. So I started recording and just put the cell phone and I start talking to the cell phone and publish the video.
Sure.
But when the business starts growing, oh, now I will not use these creepy videos anymore. I will start renting a studio. But so you start to see the money coming. But if you create a very nice schedule, you will have time for that. The only thing that I think it's hard to start in the beginning is blogging. Although blogging is important, if you don't have anyone to help you with YouTube and Instagram and the sales machine, for example, you will probably not have enough time to feed your blog on a weekly basis, for example. But you can put, for example, an article every 15 days or every month just to feed, because as the article gets older, it gets more relevant because more people went there. So blogging and the bait is very important, like the ebook or something like that. Instead of spending lots of money creating the direct offer, use that money to connect to the client. Mm-hmm. So if you have a very nice schedule, it will work.
Yeah, there's something, as you're mentioning all this, something I'm curious about, and I've heard people talk on both sides of it, and the counter examples that I all have are completely in agreement with what you said earlier. I'm thinking about your videos. I'm thinking about James Tripp, you mentioned, who puts out a lot of great content on videos. Jason Linett, who does his podcast, but he puts it out in a video format and has, I think, a really good following on his channel, and it's always valuable. It's always worth paying attention to. And my own friend Jamie Smart, who cranks it out with his cell phone.
I love the Jamie Smart podcast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so here's the thing: is that these guys clearly have they clearly have a following. That is, there is a sense of community, a sense of relationship. People are happy to get their material. On the other hand, there are some people that say, I've heard from this guy 4 times this week. That's really more than enough. I don't think I want to keep him on my list, or I'm going to unsubscribe and stuff because I just get too much stuff from this fella. So some people say, you're saying 3 times a week. And then I know some people that say, man, you shouldn't do this more than like once every 2 weeks or so because, too much is too much. So what do you think about that?
Well, those guys don't have 300,000 subscribers. That's the first thing.
Great.
So that's the first rule.
Yes.
Yes. The point is, but they are right on something, just making the joke. But for example, email. You can't send emails as frequently as you send videos to YouTube, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people receive an email, they already think, oh, that's something important that's coming for me. And YouTube, the YouTube view, the guy that watches YouTube, he knows that he subscribes to lots of channels. He's not just, because those guys say that as if there is anyone that's just connected to one YouTube channel.
Right.
Nobody. Everyone's connected to many YouTube channels. And if they don't get notifications from your videos, they're going to get many notifications from all other videos, because that's how YouTube works. So when the point is, you can't send lots of emails because that's very annoying. That's very annoying. For example, people, there's a guy that I really like his work, but I quit his mailing list because I was receiving 2 emails a day. How come someone sends me 2 emails a day? And I always like to talk something that an email is much more close to you than a YouTube video. And WhatsApp, you don't use it a lot in the US, but you use a lot in Brazil. That's like the Telegram, WhatsApp, or those apps for communicating with the cell phone without using the SMS. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
This kind of apps. Those apps, they're much more close than the email. So there are many levels of intimacy when you start to connect to your audience, and you can't ruin that.
Yeah.
So you can't, for example, send 3 emails, for example, a week. Every week is a lot of emails. You can't send that lots of emails. You just send these lots of emails if you are in the middle of a journey of a launch, for example. You are going to launch a new course, and your audience is waiting a lot for that course. So yes, you can send 3 emails a week or even on a daily basis, because you're creating expectancy. You're creating expectation just like hypnosis.
Right.
But that's just an exception.
Sure.
The email is a much more intimate contact.
Mm-hmm.
So just on a normal daily basis, what would be the right number? Not a daily basis, but what would be the right number if you're not launching something in particular?
Well, there's really not a right number, because that's not mathematics, but we usually send emails I usually send emails on a 15-day basis. Usually. I don't like sending, because I just act. I am a consumer of digital things.
Uh-huh.
And I don't like sending emails every week, unless that's that kind of funnel. For example, if I create a new funnel of clients, click here and have every week a new advice from me, Alberto DellIsola. Mm-hmm. That's great, no problem. But if you are using a way of communicating to your audience, 15 days is good. But of course, that depends on the deal you made in the bait. Because remember, the guy just wanted the ebook. The guy wanted the ebook.
Yeah.
But for example, there's a funnel of mine which will be called the Rapid Induction Course. That's going to be an email every week, because that's a course.
Sure.
Right. So that person is going to receive an email every week, but that person really wants an email every week.
Yeah.
But for announcements, for example, if I start emailing that person lots of time, that person is going to quit.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen. And we must have many different journeys for the email. Mm-hmm. I can't, and you must put your emails. For example, I have a list of emails of people that are interested on stage hypnosis. And I have a different list of people that just interested on hypnotherapy. Although I'm not a stage hypnotist, hypnotist, for example, the rapid induction course, for example, is good for both of them. Because the stage hypnosis guy, they want to learn more about rapid inductions, for example. Although the therapy guy also wants. But if I'm going to record a series of videos on Carl Rogers or Fritz Perls, just the therapy guys receive.
Sure.
So we must, because some people deal with the emails just as it's the same thing, the same bucket. Oh, here are my emails. No, that's not the way that works.
Yeah.
Because they are very different contacts.
Yeah. Some people have their list. This is my list. I'm going to send this out to everybody on my list, as opposed to, farming it out to who it belongs to. And again, Jamie, I want to mention my friend Jamie again, because Jamie was sending probably three emails a week for quite a while. And at first, I don't know. At first, it just sort of surprised me, because I thought, I don't know how long he can get away with that. And there was a part of me, he was already my friend. I was going to open the emails anyway. It didn't matter, because I have a relationship with him. But what I noticed about them was that they all had something of value. They were worth opening. It wasn't just another ad or another hook to follow that bait. It was, it has, and if he had something coming up, it would be maybe in a little ad box at the bottom of the email. But the email had some content that was interesting or useful for me to have, right then and there. So I always welcomed them, and I always opened them. Now I get texts on my telephone from people trying to sell me their get-rich-quick systems and things like that. And that's becoming like a real nuisance. But it's the same thing that email used to do, because it's just somebody that's sending you something. The subject matter is, this is clearly an advertisement from somebody that I don't know. And I have to keep clicking, delete in order to find my email among all of the unwanted things there.
Yes, and people will start selling contacts. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And the company starts buying them. But that's the point.
If it's something that I want, then I'm not being assaulted by an email. I'm not saying, well, hell, I don't want this. I don't want to get mail this often. It's like, no, I'm happy to see it every time it shows up. It's a,
Yes, that's the point. But every email must have content.
Yes.
Or a very important announcement. And when talk to YouTube, something that I really like to talk to the audience, which I also think is important, you must think on your YouTube video as an ad, a television ad for the most popular TV series, or, well, the last episode of Game of Thrones, for example. Think of that small YouTube video like the ad, but an ad with content. So what you are going to say is going to be relevant. If you had, for example, the opportunity to be in the middle of the Game of Thrones, do you watch Game of Thrones, Mike Watson?
Not really. It's not my. I've seen a couple, but no, I'm sorry, I'm not in it.
Okay. Karen, do you watch it?
I've got to say, no, I don't. I never got into Game of Thrones. But we understand that it is a big deal. For the people who watch it, it's a big deal.
Okay, let's imagine you like Saturday Night Live or something like that. Oh, I don't know what to watch. Okay, there's something that you watch. Well, I hope you have cable. No, these people don't have cable anymore, They start just using the streaming thing. That's another talk. But anyway, imagine you have the opportunity to be in the Super Bowl, for example. Sure. The Super Bowl is good. Yeah. You have the opportunity to talk 5 minutes on the Super Bowl about your business.
Yeah.
Would you just say, oh, tomorrow I have a class on Ericksonian therapy. Come and join us. No, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't miss that chance. And the internet is the same thing. you can't miss the chance. You can't miss that person that's watching you. Probably that's the first time that person is having a contact with you. And he can quit. He can just, oh, that's the same, oh, low again. Oh, he's going to sell me something. So you must think on every YouTube video. So for example, some students of mine like doing street hypnosis, for example. They are therapists, just like Anthony Jacqueline, for example. They are therapists, but they like street hypnosis too. Great. But I told them, I don't have any problem with street hypnosis, but think on the positioning of your brand on the video. So, some students of mine, they had an office, a therapy office, but starting putting some videos on street hypnosis in their channel.
Right.
Well, how come someone that wants to quit smoking will hire someone that made his buddy hallucinate and see Michael Jackson? I'd love to see Michael Jackson too, but that will not make me hire that person. I remember the Marshall Silver interview. The internet is very bad because that internet brings bad things from the past.
Sure.
And in HD. And Marshall Silver had a very bad time, David Letterman, the first time he went there.
Yes.
He went sometimes after, but the first time it was very bad. And have you seen Karen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Karen is very polite. She didn't smile. But Michael Watson, kid couldn't fake his smile. So the thing is, Marshall Silver, he said, oh, I am a hypnotist and I go to the clubs and I do stage hypnosis and thing. And besides that, what do you do? I also help people in therapy room. In the therapy, people that want to quit smoking and lots of things. And David Letterman asked, well, do you go to the club to help people to quit smoking? And something like that. So it was very bad at that moment because David Letterman at that moment hate Marshall Silver, as you can see through the entire interview, which was a mess.
Yeah.
But Marshall Silver, sorry about that, but that's on YouTube, okay? That's HD. And people can see that if they want. Just look for Marshall Silver, David Letterman. If someone deletes that video, that's going to reborn anytime, anywhere. And there was a bad positioning thing.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem if someone practices stage hypnosis and also practices therapy. But that's not easy to have two careers at the same time. I don't feel it's a problem. You are a hypnotherapist and you like to do street hypnosis in your party with your friends or something like that. For example, I love to lose my name. And I've been on this of losing my name, that if someone just look at me, someone that I trust and someone that has hypnotized me says that I've forgotten my name, I really forget my name. And I find that really funny. And I really like that thing of losing in hand clasp. There's a video that James Tripp puts me on the ground and I'm stuck and this kind of thing. I find that funny. But the problem is somebody that sees that in the Super Bowl, someone that wants to quit smoking, sees that video, that person is not going to buy your product.
Right.
So you must think of the positioning of your brand. And something that's very important, and I can't miss telling, nowadays, there is a movement on companies, and the internet is making that, of making companies personal.
Mm-hmm.
When you think on Apple, you think on Steve Jobs.
Yes.
You think on Tesla, you think on Elon Musk. PayPal, think on Elon Musk. We start to connect. The companies are doing that. They are creating someone so people can get connected with.
Yeah.
So you may create an institute, for example, institute for therapy, for teaching, no matter what. But you must invest time, money in your personal branding. Your name is, and that's another thing that I changed in YouTube. My channel used to be called Super Memoria, like super memory in English, because I was the mental athlete that used to go to television and do this kind of weird thing. And I kept that name because people start to say, oh, I learned the hypnosis on the Super Memoria channel. It was like a brand, no problem. But people started recognizing me in the streets. And that happened in Paris with me, because I am recognized in different countries because people watch the channel. And I was in Paris and the person said, you are the Super Memoria guy. The person didn't know my name. Although I had a very large channel, although I said my name every video, people didn't see my name. So I changed the name of my channel to my own name. So people will be connected to my brand, my personal brand. And nowadays, when people recognize me on the streets, they call me Alberto because they know my name. So you must invest. And if, for example, if you have an institute, use the brand of the institute too, but also invest on a personal branding. Yeah. Instagram is usually a much more intimate contact than YouTube, for example. So it's Instagram, it's much more important you connect to your name than to your company. Because people want to see what you're doing in your daily basis. You're going to, they want to see the photos of the workshops you're doing. So investing on your brand, your personal brand, is very important.
You know, Alberto, I don't know if it's just me, but Instagram is something I feel a little naive about to say this, but Instagram is something that I really don't know anything about.
Yes.
And I guess obviously it appears to be gathering steam because I'm hearing more and more and more about it. In my notes to talk to you, I heard about Instagram and stories, which is also something I've never heard about.
Yeah.
There's you know, other than YouTube and Facebook, those seem to be the things that most of us are aware of.
Yes, and that was another mistake I did. I only have 15 or 16,000 subscribers on Instagram because yeah, because I don't use Instagram, because I hate taking photos and putting them online. And we can't think on social media just as a consumer of social media, because we are not our audience. And when I saw that I was losing money because of that, I started working. I started working with my Instagram on March of 2017, on April 2017, something like that. Because I didn't see how people could make business from there. I thought that, because Instagram usually at the beginning was just a social media where people share photos and share likes and share egos. Oh, please, that's my ego. Like it. Oh, that's my mention. Like it. Oh, I'm having an awesome Starbucks coffee. That's great. That didn't make sense for me.
Yeah.
And the stories, which is a copy of the Snapchat, I didn't understand too, because what's the stories and the Snapchat? That's content you create that will be deleted in the next 24 hours. And I thought, how come I keep creating content for the YouTube, for all my social media? That's very hard work. How come I will create content that will be deleted in the next 24 hours? That makes no sense. That's because I'm old. And I don't think as the 20s think I am 38 years old. I really didn't connect to the stories. And the stories is just Zuckerberg wanted to buy Snapchat. They didn't sell. So he created the stories and broke Snapchat. And what are the difference between both the Instagram and the stories, which are the same app? Instagram nowadays is not only a way to share photos. Of course, I share photos there, but you can also connect your audience to your other social media from there. For example, if you, for example, in the Instagram put, oh, create a short video. Did you know that hypnosis can help you to quit smoking? Want to know more? See here my YouTube video about that. So you can connect to another kind of audience that love watching and seeing photos. Another thing is that the Instagram started with the idea of putting, you can put, what do you say in English, although? Speaking your second language is sometimes bad. Infogram, that's the name in English. You have a flyer which has a diagram of something you want to teach, like 5 steps or something.
Right.
Well, there's a specific term. Pinterest. Do you know Pinterest?
Yes.
That's another. That happens a lot in Pinterest too. I don't know. I don't remember a specific term. Do you know which term is it?
I'm not getting anything.
No, me either.
Okay, no problem.
It's all us.
Well, you can create like a flyer of 3 tips of how to deal with anxiety, for example. Right. You don't need to put photos. You can put content that are visual and people can connect to them. Someone tell the infographic. Thank you to Google. So Google, that infographic. Yeah. Thanks a lot. That's a term. I said that the term in English and term wrong. That's infographic. That's a kind of a flyer where you put some drawings and stuff in a very visual way. So Instagram works very well with that. Some people love sharing motivation sentences, phrases. That's not just your photos, but of course you will put your photos there too. But, well, talked about the Instagram, now you are going to make your Instagram, which is important. And frequency of Instagram is at least 1 day every day, which one time every day. So that's very bad. And there are some apps that you can schedule that. So you can, for example, in the morning, just schedule every Instagram photo, infographic for the whole month. So don't need to worry with that. And just pull to your photos when you need them. But the stories, what are the stories? That's just very, very amateur videos. That's very bad videos where you show things that are very private of you and that your audience wants to connect with you. For example, there is the HypnoBiz. I will make these stories. I just arrived here in New York. It's going to be awesome. Right. That's a 30-second video. And we create, for example, 10 videos in a day. Because that's a video that it's very bad. But I capture that moment and the audience sees that moment. Mm-hmm. So in these stories, people can see, for example, oh, I just arrived here in New York. So in the next videos, you see how it's coming. Oh, look there. Karen is talking now. Oh, that's a point. There are short videos where people have that backstage feeling.
Oh, nice.
Have the feeling that they're connecting. So, oh, today I'm going to the movies and I'm going to watch the movie, something like that. So these stories are a way to connect with people in a backstage thing.
That's great.
Let me just interrupt 1 second, Alberto. I'm sorry, and say that we are getting close to running out of time.
Yeah,
So if
sorry.
anybody on the call has a question, please type it in the chat so we can get that question in, because we've only got about 5 minutes left. So
Sorry, I talked a lot.
please don't apologize. You're doing a great job. It's been fascinating.
There's a lot of great information here. And while we're waiting for those questions to pop up, I want to mention, and I hate at the last minute to bring in these things, but there's a couple of things I realized weren't in the conversation, and it's probably going to date me now, because there was nothing about Xerox machines and mimeographs, by the way, but not only that, there was nothing about LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn dead?
No. And I just realized that last month, which is bad.
I really just ignored it for a long time, several years now.
I ignored it until last month. So I started to create a LinkedIn website, a profile too, because I realized which is important, because the people that call me, for example, to go to television, to make presentations, they are all there. The best professionals are all there. And if I don't connect to them, they will, for example, they are looking for hypnotists. If a TV guy is looking for a hypnotist, they will not go to Facebook.
Got it. Got it. So not for building up a private clientele, but for, again, for these kind of corporate things, or for television and media, stuff like that.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, just beware on LinkedIn that you don't want to accept every invitation that comes along, because you'll get a lot of insurance salesmen and a lot of accountants and people that don't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So there's a question in the box here. We're getting the question: Can Alberto talk about money? How much he receives in average for YouTube videos?
Great. I don't have problem talking about money. Some people don't like to talk about money. And in the past, when I had like 20,000 subscribers, I was getting almost the same money I get nowadays with ads on YouTube. Ads from AdSense, which is the program from Google, which pay things for the videos. They pay very badly, very, very badly, because you must hit like 1 million views, like 1 million views every month at least, to get really a way of money from there. But for example, he wants numbers probably. I get probably around $1,000, $1,500 a year with my channel in terms of the AdSense, which, of course, when it comes the end of the year, I have $1,000 like that. You know, I am happy, but I don't look at that money as something important, because that doesn't pay anything. So I see YouTube much more as a way to deliver the content and to connect to my audience and create funnels to sell other things than really getting money. And if you want to get money with YouTube, with AdSense, you probably will have some humor sketches or something like that, or like it's very hard to have 1 million or 2 million subscribers with science or psychology videos. Although some guys can do that. There are the crash courses, for example, channel, but that's not easy, and there are just a few that can do that.
Okay. All right. And so how about Facebook Live? We're running out of time, by the way, but just a bunch of people are using Facebook Live. We didn't talk about Twitter either.
Yes. All right.
Which is a powerful political tool.
Yes.
But Facebook Live as well seems to be more and more people are putting videos on there, and yet these things leave footprints that can be watched later.
Yes.
So how live they need to be is an interesting question. I'm not waiting around watching to find out when somebody's going to show up on Facebook Live, and I don't suspect that other people are, or are they?
The thing is, the Facebook wants to compete with YouTube. So when someone's start making a live on the Facebook, he tells lots of people that person is making a live. And so every live I make on YouTube, I usually make it simultaneously on Facebook.
I see.
So I usually use for example, like the cell phone, the mobile to use for the Facebook and the computer for the YouTube. That's usually what I do, because the YouTube, I must have a better quality video, because if I put that there, people are going to watch that. And in Facebook, the videos usually are lost at the time because people don't watch. Weeks passes and the video gets lost. So I usually make this simultaneously, and I always make the call for action. If you're watching here on YouTube, remember, we have our fan page on Facebook, and if you're watching on the fan page, you don't know you can learn hypnosis for free on YouTube, go there, that's super memory, something like that. Right. So you must make the call for action for both, but I usually make them simultaneously.
Cool, lovely. All right. Well, I am looking at the clock, and it is already a minute after 10 o'clock our time. So it has flown by, Alberto. And so I want you to hang around just for a minute for some final thoughts. And let me just make a couple closing announcements here that I need to make, and then we'll get back to you and close out the show. I just want to remind everybody, once again, if you're a member of IACT or IMDHA, you can get CEUs for being here tonight. So please log into the website there and let them know that you attended the virtual chapter. Also, the virtual chapter has been endorsed by the International Hypnosis Federation, the Shelley Stockwell's organization. So if you're a member of that and you need CEUs, you can get them for being here as well. The replays will be posted tomorrow on the Mind Matters Forum at IACT and IMDHA's website, or you also can see it if you're not a member of that on the virtual chapter group on Facebook. So by all means, go out there. Well, gosh, that's what I had to say. So, so any particular what's the most how do I ask you this question, Alberto? What's the one thing that if all we had time was for one really important piece of advice that you would give people that are looking how to use social media in order to really move forward in their business? What would you suggest? What would you tell them?
You must be more worried about connecting to people and deliver value than selling. Because the sale, and the moment you have the connection, the moment you have the trust, the sale is easy. People will buy it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just like someone that you trust, the doctor you trust, the dentist you trust. You just go there. And people think it in an inverted way. They think they will be known, they will be known because they have the business.
Yeah.
So, but you must connect it first. Right. So if you just arrived here at the end, connect to people, deliver value, and think on abundance, not scarcity.
Absolutely. Great. That's wonderful. So now it's that time. So we're going to do something that's reckless, Alberto, and we always do. So folks who've been here regularly know to expect this, but it'll be a complete surprise for you. I hope if you're an audiophile, if you appreciate just beautiful cacophony, what we're going to do here, just as closing out the evening, is we're going to unmute everybody's microphones so that we'll all have an opportunity to say thank you and good night and all of that stuff. And somewhere in the middle of the chaos, we'll wave at one another, and then we will fade off into the sunset. So thank you so very much for being here with us. We've really appreciated it. You've had a lot of great stuff to share with us.
Thank you. It was awesome to be with you. Thank you.
It
and
was
everyone watching.
Okay, so here go those microphones.
Alberto, you were wonderful.
Hi.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great having you, Alberto.
Congratulations and good night.
Good one.
Yeah.